are we in for more extremely cold temperatures? Ron Hurst is back to break down what he's expecting with his 2024 winter forecast.
Well, time to get a look and see what winter's going to bring the Ozarks this year. How much rain and snow? Well, to start things off, I want to show you where the storms have been generating for the last 4 weeks or so. We're having one area out here in the central Pacific and another one up in the Gulf of Alaska. What this is doing is it's creating what we call a ridge of high pressure, a bubble of warm air that's taken shape out across the western United States. At times it moves into the Ozarks and gives us warmer than average weather, and at times it what we call retrogrades and moves back to the west and actually gives us a shot of cooler air. So the storms themselves are actually coming in just west of Vancouver. What they're doing is they're hitting this ridge, going up into Canada, and then dropping into the Ohio Valley. So what that does for us is it gives us warm air for a while, gives us a couple of cool days, and then the warm air comes back. But it also gives us very little moisture, which is why we had such dry conditions back in the month of October. Well, at times what we've seen is these areas of low pressure come in, but the ridge actually what we call retrogresses or goes back to the west, allowing energy to drop into the southwestern United States. Now, we've seen a couple of different examples of this over the last month or so, and I think that this is going to continue. Now, in this position, this is where we're getting some moderate rain, but it's also the position where we can get some snow. However, it is a matter of timing, and what happens is typically the cold air will set back to the north and to the west, and as these storm systems pull out of the southwest, we tend to get a very cold rain here in the Ozarks. Where we get our ice and snow is when that cold air moves just a little bit further to the south, and the warm air overrides the dome of colder air here into the Ozarks. And of course, this is where we get our biggest ice and snow storms here. So we really have to watch when we get a storm pulling out of the southwest. That's what's going to bring us the major winter weather. Now, because I think that the warm air is going to kind of rule out, that's been the major factor here the last 4 to 6 weeks or so, I think temperatures are going to be slightly warmer than average this winter. However, we'll get a few shots of cooler air, generally about every 5 to 7 days or so. I think that we're also going to see slightly above average precipitation. And what's been happening is we've had dry weather for a couple of weeks. Then about every 3 weeks or so, we get a storm develop in the southwest that actually brings us above average rainfall. And when you work it all out, it's getting us slightly above average. Now, because I think that the cold air has a chance of getting into the Ozarks a few times, I'm going to forecast about 7 to 12 inches of snow for the area this winter. So we'll see what happens. Last year, kind of missed the snow forecast a little bit. The temperature forecast was better, but hopefully we've got things straightened out for this year. Anyway, happy winter, everybody. Enjoy the snow when we get it.
All right, Ron, you may be pulling the space heater out of retirement with these cold nights, but there are some things to think about before you turn the heat up. The National Fire Protection Association reports space heaters cause 46% of home heating-related fires.